Good people and inhabitants of planet Earth, both foreign and domestic, welcome to the Durahuman Paradox. I'm your host, Darius Riddick, and I would like to thank you for joining me in what is nominally the next stage of evolution for humankind. For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. But for those of you returning once again, and to all of you, frankly, thank you for your investment of time, the most valuable asset of which you do not get back. For that, I am forever grateful. What we're doing here is attempting the impossible, the improbable. And we are simplifying the complex nature and principles of the human machine, something that has been attempted before and has failed, something that has been elusive for centuries. But the reason why I created the Human Paradox and the reason why we're doing this is because we are in the best possible position ever than we've ever had in human history to be able to do this, to take these principles and condense them into something that, whether you are an enthusiast, a sedentary individual, or an elite athlete, that you can use to create a better quality of life. And, we have not had that opportunity before, but today we do. And it's only getting better as we progress. But it first starts with the acknowledgement and at least the attempt. So how have we done that? Over the past 100 episodes of the Durahuman Paradox, I've chosen 26 principles, 26 human performance principles that have been in human cognition or physical performance, physiology, chemical, neurohormonal balances, or muscular hypertrophy, and just general human locomotion, and taken them and simplified them to the point where the message still gets across, but you can take them and extract them right now and use them in your daily life. And where I did that is in the Durahuman Paradox book. So we take the time here to really go over things and explain it a little bit more as much as we possibly can. But if you want to get ahead of the game, if you want to take notes or have something where you don't have to sit here and watch me or listen to my voice, then grab the book. It's available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So, but yeah, I mean, truly, it's up to you. So, right, the 26 principles that we go through. I chose 26 to match the alphabet to further simplify what it is that we're trying to do, because I feel as though humans sometimes we overcomplicate things. So today, I wanted to discuss an enigmatic principle, something that over the years has been kind of confusing, but as we go along, I feel like more and more people are getting it and it's starting to make more and more sense. So as we go through this information, as I put this information out there, I just want everybody to understand exactly why we're doing this. And, it's our duty now to create a better quality of life for those that succeed us. Our predecessors did it for us, and that is our duty now. So when we talk about this principle, when we get into this information, it's not just about us. It's about those that come after us and enabling them to have a better quality of life, to live happier, to live healthier, to live stronger. Because what is life if we can't create a better quality of it for those that come after us? But before we jump into it, on this day in history, September 6th, 1915, the first tank is produced, courtesy of history.com. So, as above, so below, as you can tell, as the title of the episode, what does that truly mean? So for as above, so below, hopefully y'all can hear me well. As above, so below. In the simplest way possible, to translate that to you all, it states that, and before I say that, if you have ever gotten into alchemy or philosophy or spiritualism, transcendental principles, this is our attempt to mix it with human performance and basic physiological principles. But what it states is that what happens above is going to reflect below. So what does that mean for us in human performance? What happens upstairs is going to translate to what's downstairs. So in further terms, your path of cognition, the way you think and your thinking patterns are going to translate to your physical performance. And this has been said many ways, many times before. But in the simplest way, it is that what you put into your mind, what you think, the patterns that you perceive throughout the day. We talked about perception and imagery, so we won't go into it. is going to translate to your ability to live. So why this is important is because if you do not have the mindset for a better quality of living, if you do not have the mindset to win on the playing field, if you do not have the mindset to make those changes to live a better quality of life, then they aren't going to happen. They're not going to magically manifest themselves. They're not going to pop out of the ground and throw themselves at you. It starts with the patterns in the way you think. And this is one of the reasons why, I mentioned that our theories, our principles go from A to Z, 26 of them. However, in the Durahuman paradox, we start with why. And the reason why we start with the why is because it starts with yielding mentality. So you must have a flexible mentality in order for any of these principles to work. Whatever it is that you want to do, the flexible mentality is the catalyst for it. So once you can grasp that above, things will begin to reflect and translate below. So this is not something that's just made up. This is years and years of collecting data and information from athletes of all levels to truly understand, okay, what enables them to perform so well? What enables one athlete to be able to break records and challenge the improbable and really set the pace in their sport versus an athlete that never makes it out of D3 or that doesn't even stand a chance against this athlete over here. And one of the things that we found amongst the many at the very top is their pattern of thinking. What kind of mental processes do they demonstrate or do they go through in order to be able to do these things, to really prove themselves and justify themselves as an elite athlete? And as daunting as that may seem, as far away as that may seem for some of you that may be watching this, the only difference between a sedentary individual and an elite athlete is their level of training. So if you can begin to train yourself or train those mental processes, there is no reason why you can't perform or think like the elite athletes do, because that's the goal. The more elite you become, the better quality of life you're going to have. So in the Durahuman paradox, we talk about two concepts that stem from this idea of as above, so below. And it's something that I'm sure that a lot of you have heard before. It's something that, has come up in many talks about psychology and just performance in general. And that is nature versus nurture. And one of the theories to make the argument of nature versus nurture make sense is self-optimization. And self-optimization theory is the running theme for the Durahuman paradox, the book and the podcast. So if you're unfamiliar with what nature versus nurture is, I'm not going to take the time now to explain it all because we're limited on time. But first and foremost, nature just says that what you are given as far as genetic properties is what you have. That's who you're going to be. That's how you're going to act. That's how you're going to, that's you. There's no changing that. What you've adopted based on your genetics is what you're going to go. It's in your nature. You can't change it. Nurture states that your environment over genetics is going to be the biggest factor that influences who you are, how you think, what you demonstrate. Super simple, right? There's a lot that goes into it, but we're just going to keep it at that. If you want to know more, then just get the book. But self-optimization takes the position in between. That's saying that in order for a human to optimize their quality of life, both have to exist, both nature and nurture. The genetic coding that was established from conception, from birth, and the influence of your environment, and the combination of the two is what enables the self-optimization theory, is what enables us to adapt to adopt a yielding mentality and to create a better quality of life. So when we talk about as above, so below, what happens in the mind is what's going to allow us to translate to the physical performance. But that starts with understanding that there is a nature piece and the nurture piece. And the combination, the middle ground of them is what enables that to happen, that yielding mentality to begin to understand what the patterns are and to begin to establish those goals and make those simple steps between them. So hopefully, if this is the first time that you're tuning in with us, that it makes sense. But if it doesn't make sense, if it's still a little bit obscure, trust me, we have a lot more to talk about. But I encourage you to go back through the past episodes and begin to understand what we've talked about over, I would say, at least the last 25 episodes now, for the pieces of the puzzle to begin to fit in. So what I want to say is that I'll leave you with this. A yielding mentality means that you are not closed off to any experience. That means that you understand that there is a nature portion to you and a nurture portion to you. But in the middle, to optimize, to improve your quality of life, means understanding that the mindset needs to be open, needs to be malleable. But furthermore, the mind is going to translate to the body. It's a simple phrase of, strong mind, strong body, weak mind, weak body. If you have a less than processed mind, you'll have a less than processed body. But you can't have one without the other. But until next time, stay durable, my friends.